Hey guys, GHAZZY here with another Path of Exile video. In this one, I'm going to make a very short TLDR recap of builds that I believe are going to be very strong to League start with in 3.14 Ultimatum Path of Exile League. So this is going to be a very short one. I'm just going to go through the different builds that I believe are very good. And for your convenience, I have the list in front of you guys here on the screen. And I'll just go through my 2 cents of each build. And I will, before leading up to 3.14, be making more specific videos showing some gameplay footage for at least most of these videos. I hope I have time for that. So without wasting your time, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more content if you enjoy the video, and moving on. First one is going to be Carrion Golems. Yes, we have been hit quite significantly with Carrion Golem builds with an 11% reduction of our damage, as well as some lower AoE scaling and longer cooldown on the Cascade ability that they're using. I still believe that Carrion Golems will be very good, but there's been some other nerfs that hit us as well, specifically targeting aura stackers. And despite this, you have to keep in mind that the aura stackers have usually been a very expensive build, and it pretty much made you immortal to everything. Now you're going to be a little bit less immortal, if that's the way to describe it. I think that the Carrion Golem builds will still be very strong to play. The other build I believe is going to be super solid is the Vortex and or Cold Slinger approach. Vol Cold Snap received a significant buff, and the nerfs were barely touching the Vortex other than the Frost Bomb exposure reduction. And the trigger weapon has been increased from 4 seconds to 8 seconds cooldown, which barely affects this build. And I do have a build guide for both the Carrion Golem and the Vortex. I have build guides for most of these builds. Just check out the links in the descriptions. But I think Vortex is pretty much untouched for the most part, and therefore will be a very good League starter as before. Spectres were pretty much untouched. The biggest nerfs to it was actually for the higher end budget builds using cluster jewels, mainly looking at Renewal, which had a 1% nerf, but also Vengeful Commander, which was hurt, and the Trigger Craft barely affected this build as well. But other than that, Spectres is still going to be the top dog, and it is my favorite minion build of all the minion builds that currently is in play in the meta at the moment. So definitely something you can look into playing. Toxic Rain, same thing there. The biggest change was the pods generated by the Toxic Rain is now scaled by AoE modifiers. This means that you might want to change or might have to change the Toxic Rain link setup to have a one setup for clearing and one for single target, where you make sure that those pods actually hit the bosses. Other than that, I do believe the Toxic Rain will be a very good League starter in the coming League as well. Enemy Weapon, untouched, super good. SRS, untouched, super good. Soul Rest, actually slightly buffed because the staff itself is supposed to be able to drop outside of Delve encounters, which should result in the staff being cheaper on the market earlier than before. It usually crashes down to being super cheap after a couple of days, but it should be cheaper earlier than that in the coming League, and therefore very good. Dominating Blow, I mean, Dominating Blow has been one of the best League starting minion builds you can play. It's been such a solid and insane approach to start with, similar to ED Contagion. So Dominating Blow is just a great League starter, especially for new players. You don't need much to get it going. Next build would be a Dark Pact build. Dark Pact has barely been touched as well, and again is a really solid build. It's one of the builds, one of my favorite builds outside of the Spectres, and it should be shitting on everything in the entire game. You can make it tank 100% deli maps, even if you can't farm it that reliably anymore. Anything and everything with mines will work. Most promising has been the Blazing Salvo, which I believe Path of Math will be playing, so do keep an eye out on his channel for that build. We have a Flame Wall Spellslinger build, which I also know will be very good in the coming League as well. There's barely been any changes to these builds, and therefore they will still be a very good League starter, which they were in the previous League. Detonate Dead was touched with a slight nerf, and the biggest nerf was actually the HP scaling of the Harvest monsters. And this only changes the efficiency of Detonate Dead versus certain boss encounters where there weren't any other corpses available in the maps, making the Spectres you brought in become the only corpses that were available, giving Detonate Dead a stupid amount of damage versus those specific boss fights. Other than that, Detonate Dead has actually been very, very good. So with this nerf, you're not gonna notice any big changes in your damage output outside of these specific boss encounters where it really shined when it comes to damage output, and therefore Detonated will still be perfectly fine to play. Lich Screen is the Skelly / Spectres build, and that is also pretty much untouched. It's the trigger weapon, which is barely touching the build, therefore also going to be a very solid League starter. And then we have the Edie Contagion Bane, which GHAZZY seems to never want to nerf for the last 6 years. So this will actually be the 25th time I'm promoting Edie Contagion as a solid league starter for the next league. And it's probably going to be a 26th time for the next one. So stay tuned for that. Jesus. Bleed Boglad got a hit with the bleed modifier from the Elder mods, and I do believe that despite the changes of these things, that Bleed Boglads will still be a very solid league starter. I would be a little bit cautious on this build though, but I'm personally very confident that it should work very well. But if you feel the same way as I do, you should definitely give it a try. BBBF poison builds, the nerf to it was quite significant. However, their damage output was beyond significant before this change, and I do believe that's been brought more in line to a reasonable state with these changes. And I do firmly believe that at least the poison version that I have a guide for will definitely be a solid league starter. Caustic Arrow, I mean, it's one of those things that haven't been touched in ages. It's working very well and should have the same type of performance in 3.14. Well, as much as I've promoted Edie Contagion and Dominating Blow and some of these builds for many, many years, same goes for Enki's build. I do believe he's using a Cracking Lance these days with the Enki's Arc Witch. So definitely give that a try. I'm very confident that it's going to be extremely good in the coming league as well, as it didn't get any nerfs. I actually got some nice stuff available for us with Vol skills. Earthquake Bonk builds. I'm not even going to say more than that. Steel builds. Super solid. Don the Crown has a couple of really solid approaches to it as well. Should definitely give that a try. So this was let's say at the end of this video. I just had a really short TLDR of builds I believe that you should be looking into. A lot of these builds I have guides for, so check out the links in the descriptions below. And I will be in the coming day tonight and tomorrow, we'll be uploading more specific videos showing some more gameplay footage with these builds, including some updates for some of my build guides, which I'll have some gameplay footage showing and talking more specifically about each of these videos for league starter suggestions for 3.14. And I hope you guys had use of this TLDR video. I will personally, before I get spammed with questions about my league starter, I will try one of the new abilities, and I haven't decided yet. I've spent the last 4 hours trying to design it, and it's been harder than I thought it would be. So it's going to be fun to do. Anyways, leave a comment in the comment sections below. Hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Till next time, stay safe and keep rocking.